Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, aka America's Asshole, and this video we're breaking down our best theories on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's a brand new trailer out which gives some hints towards what could be happening, and we've got a lot to discuss before episodes 5 and 6 air. We'll also be discussing some leaks towards the end of the video, but I'll give you a heads up before we get to those. However, heavy spoiler warning now in full effect for everything up to the end of episode 4. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking this, now let's get into the breakdown. Okay, so on Monday the 12th of April, Marvel dropped a mid-season trailer for Falcon and the Winter Soldier that gave us a good glimpse at what could be coming down the line. This teaser showed several never-before-seen scenes, including one in which Bucky and Sam went to take the shield from John Walker. This is something that the pair have discussed throughout the series, and it seems like it's finally going down. It's on! Now episode 4 ended with a big moment that was extremely similar to the ending of Civil War. In both the film and show, we saw as a Captain America slammed his shield down on someone, and whereas Steve decided to leave before killing them, Walker flag smashed some dude's head in. The parallels are going to seemingly continue, and in the teaser we see Sam and Bucky about to go toe to toe with Walker. This shot is very similar to something out of Civil War, namely the final battle in which it was Cap and Bucky versus Tony. Now we know from other moments in the trailer that, at this point, the shield is covered in the blood of the flag smasher that was killed doing what he did best, which was looking up to Captain America. Therefore, I'm guessing that this fight happens immediately after the ending of episode 4, and that Sam and Bucky attempt to take the shield from him straight away. Now I believe that John will actually win this fight, and this is why we see him later on in his military uniform saying that he's Captain America. This shot seems to be at a courthouse, and it could also be the moment when we saw Bucky looking incognito in the trailers. Though it appears to be a different location, it would make sense to have him too keeping an eye on Walker after the fight. I'm guessing that Walker beats them and returns to the US, and then perhaps he visits the Smithsonian where Bucky attends, and this is why he looks so beat up about it. It could also, however, be a flashback to when Sam handed over the shield to the museum, and perhaps it's an angle on that moment that we just haven't seen yet. Now we do see Walker in the trailer during its night scene throwing the shield, so it seems like he does retain it. However, it's also possible that Sam and Bucky managed to get it back, which is why there's a big part in the first trailer of Sam training with it. Now shoutouts to Johnny Wilkinson on Twitter for pointing out that if you look closely at the shield in these night scenes, you will see that it's cracked in the middle. I'm guessing this is off the earlier fight, and just in the same way that the paint is starting to rust away, the image of Captain America is too. Now this also highlights that the shield is a slightly different one to the one that Steve used to have, as in Endgame it did of course get snapped in half by Thanos. Therefore, the one that Steve gave Sam at the end of Endgame has been pieced together slightly differently, which does explain why it's split in this formation. Now if I was to hazard a guess over the order of things, I would say that I think that Walker will beat the two at the start of the next episode. He will return to America, have even more of a blowout at the government who will try and take the shield off of him, and this will lead to the fight in the street that we see. This echoes the moment that Sam and US Agent fought one another in Sam Wilson Captain America, so there is definitely precedence for it in the source material. Then I think episode 6 will focus on the Power Broker and Flag Smashers, with Sam becoming Captain America during that entry. Now if you look closely at the shield in the street, then you will see that it's actually a different version to the one that Walker has been carrying throughout the series. What may happen is that either Sam or the government take it back, and we then see Walker do his big thing about being Captain America after he's stripped of the mantle. He could then recover the one from the ending of Endgame, wherever it is, piece it back together, and then continue his reign of terror. This would allow Sam to go off and train with the one that we've seen him using in the trailers, and it makes more sense that there's now two shields knocking about. Now huge shoutouts to Josh from Den of the Nerds for saying that he thinks Sam will forgive Walker, and this will show that he is right to become Captain America. Steve saw that deep down Sam was better than most people, and that's why he chose him to take over the mantle. Hell, when we got to see his home life in Winter Soldier, he was even helping troops that had mental health issues because of the combat they'd seen, so I think if anyone can forgive Walker, it's definitely going to be him. Josh and I did a big stream yesterday talking about the upcoming episode, and he actually thinks that Sam won't take the shield by force, and instead he'll convince Walker that he's the right person to bear the mantle, and this will make John give it to him. He He thinks that Sam will then ask for his help in fighting the Flag Smashers, so it will be somewhat redemption for the character and will mean that Walker becomes their ally instead. Josh very much said that he thinks the trailers are making it appear like there's going to be a big fight, but that they're simply doing that to subvert our expectations, and I do actually really like this theory. Now as for the other characters, I think it's pretty safe to assume that Sharon Carter will get her pardon. After Sam insists that she's a good guy again, they will let her back into the country so that she can see her family. However, I don't think that she will join the government, and with S.H.I.E.L.D. disbanded in this MCU timeline, it is possible that she will continue to work as some sort of anti-hero. Perhaps she might even join a certain group that we'll talk about in just a bit, but that's just something to bear in mind as we go towards the finale. Now as for Bucky, I think that when this is all over, he will return to Mr. Nakajima and show up like, "Hey mate, I did kill your son, yeah, it was me." Now throughout this season, his arc has very much been about him forgiving himself and also seeking the forgiveness of others. Though this plotline was dropped pretty quickly after episode 1, the thread is still very important to the character's development. I think when Sam becomes Captain America, it will show Bucky that Steve wasn't wrong about him, which in turn will make him realise that he wasn't wrong about him either. He'll then go back out with that girl, I'm guessing, and the guy will finally get his happy ending. Yay! Now as for Zemo, I feel that he will end up joining or perhaps even helping to form the Thunderbolts. Though we don't have definite word on whether they'll be in the MCU or not, due to Taskmaster, Yelena Belova and Zemo all appearing in Phase 4, I think it's safe to assume something is being set up to bring the group together. Personally, I think the series might end with Zemo back in jail, and then Thunderbolt Ross could go and visit him and ask him to join their team. This is pretty close to the post-credit scene involving Deathstroke at the end of Arkham Origins, and though it's pretty much just the exact same thing that happens in that, I think it would make a lot of sense. The Thunderbolts are pretty much the Suicide Squad version of the Avengers, and with Nick Fury going to recruit Tony at the end of Iron Man, it makes sense to repeat this sort of aesthetic when forming that new team. Now for the rest of the video, I will be discussing some of the toy leaks that give away what happens to Sam and John Walker. So if you don't want anything spoiled, then cheers for sticking up until this point, and I'll see you on the next one. Anyway, from the toys we know that Sam does become Captain America, and that he gets his white suit from the comics. Whether this happens after he beats Walker or not, we don't know yet, but at some point in the series he will be donning it. I can kinda see him perhaps wearing it after the end of episode 5, which is when, I'm guessing, Walker drops the mantle. It would be great to get a full finale where he wears it, but if not, I guess he will be putting it on in the upcoming movies. Now as for Walker, we do know from the toys that he will become his alter ego US agent. In the comics, after John had the mantle of Captain America taken away from him, he became somewhat of an anti-hero. Wearing black and red, he's performed as a mercenary and also been there when Cap has needed him. With him now being a super soldier, the world will of course always have a use for him, and therefore I think he might even become a Thunderbolt member or potentially go off and do his own thing. Now one thing to notice about the toy is that he doesn't have a shield. Typically in the comics the character carried a vibranium disc, but it looks like, as far as the series is concerned, that he won't be getting that yet. I kind of feel like he might in one of the upcoming projects, but for the meantime that's about as far as things will go. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories, so make sure you comment below and let me know. As a thank you for interacting with the video, you'll be entered into a prize drawn the 30th of April, in which we're giving away 3 copies of Zack Snyder's Justice League in 4K. All you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like this, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with all your crazy fan theories. The winners of last month's competition are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at HeavySpoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of all the details we know about the episode 5 cameo, which will be linked on screen right now. We've gone over what we've heard from the best sources to give you as definitive of an answer we can get at the moment, so definitely check it out if you want to know more. With that out of the way, thank you for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.